Alrighty, I am just trying to work out if I am in fact currently streaming. Let's see what it says. I think I am. Hello. So I'll see if my sound's going. I believe it is. Alright, so we're coming back to continue our solve today of a puzzle that appeared in the Magpie magazine in 2020, I forget which month it was. It's Wondrous by Shakenactor. In terms of where we got to last night, the thing that's fantastic about this puzzle is that we don't have enumerated clues. Instead we have 4 paragraphs, and each of those paragraphs contain clues for a chain of 11 entries. We have solved all but 3 of the entries for chain 0. We have solved all but 5 of the entries for chain 1. We've solved all but 4 of the entries for chain 2. And the final chain, we've only solved the first one, so let's keep solving. See how far we can get with that. Now, just give it 1 moment. Just 1 second. Just need to put this on pause for a moment. I will be back. Alrighty, back with us. Ready to keep solving. Just give me 1 moment. Alright, how do I get rid of this window? There we go. Alrighty. Yeah. Trying to get it up so I can actually see the chat, but for some reason I can't. Okay. So we're up to chain number 3, and that's what we are going to keep trying to solve. We've extracted the first part of the clue. The second, which gave us bedroom. The first clue in every chain is clued by wordplay only. It's not defined. Instead, each entry is said to be thematic. We only have 2 of those so far. So for chain number 3, we have bedroom. For chain 2, we have hall. Now that suggests that what we're looking for is rooms of a house or rooms of a building. Probably a house because it's hall. So we have, in chain 1 it's 6 letters. Toilet, garden, basement, atrium, not sure what that could be, lounge, dining. It's probably clued by something given by motor about easily, but anyway. And I'm fairly sure the clue for The clue for the first ones seems to be boss, last in family, which is a 5-letter word ending in Y. It might be a good opportunity to give Chambers' crossword dictionary a go. See what they give us as 4-letter words, which are synonyms of boss. Calf, head, knob, knot, stud. Boss is a stud. I like that, because stud in front of Y gives us study, which is of course another room. And of course now we have the first part of that clue. We can now enter a few more cells into the grid. So if you remember from the last stream, another thing that's unique about this puzzle is that it gives us the starting positions of each of the 4 chains, and it gives us the ending positions, which is indicated by the asterisks. But part of the magic of this puzzle is the fact that we have to work out where the rest of the chains go. So I think here we can put the S in because that's where the cell marked O is. We know that after the first letter of each entry, the direction that the entry thereafter goes is indicated by a gap in the cell walls. So study can only go ST up in this cell, and I think we also, well, it's a bit unclear how we interpret the rest of the instructions, but I think what is clear is that we certainly can't cross over these thicker cells, which are I suppose the barred cells, so that means that the Y must go here, which means that after that the D could either go this way or it could go this way, but we don't know yet, so let's leave that and perhaps we'll come back to that later. Alright, so made a bit of progress here, it's nice. Cartel acquires athletes illegal stimulant for recovering. Cartel had down as ring. Athletes illegal stimulant. Not really that up on sporting things, but I suspect that's just going to be a 3-letter word for some sort of drug that sports stars along the sports stars like Mr. Armstrong might take. Come back to that. But I do wonder how much of. I do wonder if I could start to maybe fill out some more of this. Some more of these chains. No, I do want to get a start on. Let's see. What do we have for chain 2? So chain 2 starts with hall and then it goes into lovebird. So we have H, A. I suppose L can go here, here, here or here. So that's not restricted enough, I don't think, to really give us a good head start. Chain 0 with study, that either has to go, the D has to go here or it goes down to the left or down to the right. So I'm going to do something in some different colours so we can test out some different options. So if study goes down this way, then the Y can only go here. Then the gap indicates, of course, the next word is Wang, Y-A-N-G. So gap indicates where the next letter of that entry goes, and once again that entry is restricted, so it can only go here and it can only go there. Whereas if the D goes down the other way, I'm doing this in green now, D, of course the Y can only go there, A must go here, N, G, that A can then go into separate. Actually, we have two different pathways here for where the rest of Wang goes. If it goes here, the next word is gamut, and it can't go back on itself there. So the A can't go straight down, it has to go down this way. I think what that means is that on either version, I think I can be confident enough to say that this cell here is always going to be an N, because we get the N in Wang coming down this way, and we have the N in Wang coming down on the green path. Of course that means the G would have to be here. A for gamut would have to be there. The M for gamut, if I'm following along the G path, actually, let's just go back to the Y path for a moment. So we have the D for study coming down here, then we have Y, A must go down, N, we know it's always going to be N no matter which way we put study in, G. We follow along the red, the A for gamut must be here, the M for must be there, we have U and then T. I think that's permitted. So an entry can't loop back on itself, but different entries in, but a chain is able to revisit a cell that chain has previously revisited. So we could potentially have U, gamut T there, and then of course the next one is Tumshi. We could go T, U, the M could go down here again, or the M. No, the red one can't be right, because the M for Tumshi could only come back to this cell here. Of course, by the time it gets back to that cell there, there's nowhere for the SHI to go. So I think what that means is the red path is wrong. I must delete the red path, but I think that might be enough for me to say that the green path is correct. So let me just write in that green path is blue, which is what I'll be using for the entry. So S-T, Y, Wang, Y-A-N-G, G for gamut, G-A-M-U-T. So we don't actually need to, actually that is the only way it can go. And of course then we have Tumshi, T-U-M. So I'm going to write these down here as I go, just as I've entered them all. So this is string, so chain 0. We've put in study, put in Wang, we have put in Gamut, we have the letters for T-U-M, for Tumshi, that's looped back on itself, T-U-M-S, looping back on itself again. That means this must be H, this must be I. We don't have an option, we have three different options for where the E at the end of Tumshi might go. Wait a second, no we don't. What we do know is that the E for the end of Tumshi, because it's the first letter of the next word, must go into a cell which has an open spot on it. So E cannot go in this cell, which means that E may be able to go in this cell with the red or perhaps this cell with the green. But immediately on putting the E in the cell with the green, I think we have a problem, because the next answer is Amir, so I can put the M there, but then I've got nowhere for the IR to go. So I think once again I can immediately discount the green pathway, and the correct pathway must have been here. So we can say we've done Tumshi and we've got the E from Amir. Of course that now gives three different options for the M. We could put the M here, or we could put it here, or we could put it here. But I think just looking at how filled the grid is at that point, I think it's fair to say that's as far as I could possibly go so far. So I think what I will do is, because I think the grid fill is going to become rather complex, I'm just going to sort of circle that E, circle this E here, so I know that that's where we got up to with the first string. I don't think I need to start planning out the chain or plotting out the chain. I think we can probably follow through the chain as we go, but just for the sake of demonstrating it, so far for this chain we have study, coming down here, Wang, Gamut, going back on study, Tumshi, and that's what we have so far for that first chain, which is promising. I was starting to dread filling in that grid, but I don't think it's something that we need to be particularly worried about. It should be simple enough, I think. Okay, where are we up to now? Just give me a moment. I wonder if we can try and complete some of the other chains. We might be able to. We haven't really got enough for chain 3 yet. Chain 2, I wonder if what we've put there with chain 2 potentially restricts what we've got there so far with chain 2 potentially restricts chain 2 enough that we can try and work out what some of the other directions that chain takes could be. So for chain 2 we've got the H and the A. We don't have a spot for the two L's yet though. So we know that the final L needs to make its way into a cell which has an opening. There's just too many options, I think. you could put the L here and the L here, or there, or in fact anywhere. So putting the L there can lead to lots of different options where the final L ends up. Same with putting the L here, same with putting the L there, and same with putting the L there. So we actually have 4 options there for location of the L, and that's just simply not enough. Not enough data that we have so far with our grid fill to try and work out which one of those options might be correct and which ones of those options might be incorrect. As I'm looking here at the clue, I've just noticed that I've got a tense problem. This looks like one of the missing D's is from sailed. One of the missing letters, I should say, is from sailed, which means that I think we have, of course, there were 6 clues which are apparently missing letters. Just trying to find where we had that. Here we go. That was a clue in chain 2, and it looks like we've got a missing D there. Just like we had a missing D down in one of the clues in chain 1. So I'm not sure if all of the missing letters, it's this part of the preamble here that we take that from. 6 chain clues have a single letter missing that must be reinstated, always making real words before solving. I'm not sure if all of the missing letters are going to be D's, but it's curious that we have two of them so far. We're on the lookout for 4 more. I think statistically, actually we've still got more than 8 to solve, but if we're having trouble with some of our clues, then it might be because they're missing a letter, and it may well be that all those letters are D, so I think that's just something that we can bear in mind. I think revisiting some of these clues in chain 2, I still not sure about urban beast, but I think that's the clue there. Urban beast, attention seeker. Attention seeker could be something like pst, or ST, or PST, or PSST, like an expression that somebody makes when they're trying to get somebody's attention. Collects wife, so that could be a word that goes around, an abbreviation for wife, like W or UX. Attention seeker could be something like oi. Silvery fish, consisting of areca nuts for starters, rabbits. Rabbit. Looking for a 7-letter word there. I had been working on the basis that it probably is a word meaning silvery fish, but I wonder if we're actually looking for... the fact it ends in an S makes silvery fish a good proposition, I think. I'm not sure where the S comes from, though. Anyway, I can come back to that. It's a little bit of a mystery for the time being. I think I was complaining yesterday that there's so many different fish that it's not easy to... I've never thought, oh great, can't wait to try and work out what fish that is when I see a clue which calls for a fish. Anyway, not sure if there's anyone watching me, but if there is anyone watching me, feel free to say hello, and if you do like crosswords, feel free to tell me what sort of crosswords you're into, and happy to have a chat about that, or whatever you want, really. Okay, so chain 3, let's see if we can break into this a bit. Chain 3. We have bedroom for the first undefined wordplay only clue. And of course, that's why I was thinking about missing D's. One of the missing letters in that clue as well is a D. Rand instead of ran. That gives us the abbreviation R, so the wordplay for that clue was Ed for journalist. Ran gives us R into bar, which is boom, so you put the letters of E, D, R into boom. Of course you get bedroom, which must be the thematic answer for that undefined clue. Spirits low, Pooch sent back breaks heart in canvas. Well, heart in canvas could be NS, and Pooch sent back could be dog backwards. I think I know what this is actually. Dog backwards is of course God, and just moving the rest of this clue down here on the off chance that I might have actually got something right. But heart in canvas is NS. I'm just going to put S at the end of this, which gives us a pluralised answer. I'm going to put God's here, which is dog backwards or Pooch backwards. Heart in canvas is of course NS. So we have God or dogs backwards in NS. Low is to moo, like a cow does. And I think the spirits that we're after are probably moon gods. Yeah, I like that. I think that's absolutely that answer. Here we go. Now we're cooking with gas or something. Interestingly as well, this has the last three letters of this word, the next three letters of the next entry. So I suspect that at that stage this entry doubles back all on itself, making progress.
Sick. I'll call back later.
Alright. Where are you off to?
Josh is over your haircut.
Okay, you got $10?
What?
You got money for a haircut?
I'll transfer him.
Cool. I'll just solve the clever one, you want to say?
Gotta go, man.
I'll catch you up later, man. When the other thing that's interesting about this crossword is that, like, usually when you have a crossword where you really need to cold solve most of the clues before you have any chance of making any progress with the grid entry, you think, God, that's a bit of a slug. But the saving grace for this puzzle, and I think what makes that an acceptable incident of the solving path, is the fact that it is a chain. So as you solve one clue, you do get some feedback into what the next clue is likely to be, because of course the last letter of the clue before is the first letter of the subsequent clue. So we're looking for 9-letter words starting with S, and it's clued by, well, Scott initially is probably yes, with no work about. I think we're probably looking for a word meaning shoveler. I'm just trying to work out where the clue ends. Scott initially could probably give us that first S, with no work about. No and work backwards. So about, I think, is a reversal indicator. Work can be OP. That's a common abbreviation. So let's just put no work backwards and we get spoon. I like the idea of spoon something being the base word for a word that means shoveler. So that's definitely part of, that's could well be a definition. And then we've got the first part of the word play, and then for the last four letters, almost to get out of paying what's owing. Now almost is word means like you take all but the last letter of those words. Now to get out of what's owing is something like to shirk, but I wonder if spoonster is a word. I wonder if spoonster can be a shoveler. I wonder if there's a, like this, S-T-E-R. I wonder if that's the first 4 letters of a 5-letter word mean to get out of hay and what's owing. But I'm so convinced that that is the entirety of the clue that I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to use another solving aid here. We've got the Chambers crossword aid, which doesn't say what year it's published in 1956, and what that is basically a list of 2-letter words and 3-letter words all the way up to 12-letter words in order. So I'm going to look for my 5-letter words starting with S-T-E-R to see if I can confirm that hunch that I have that spoonster might be a word. S-T-E... Stern? To stern somebody to get out of pain? Let's look it up here. I don't think it is. And the one that definitely jumps to mind is to shirk. And to shirk somebody, shirk one's responsibilities. But we're always certainly looking for a word that ends in R. There's also steer, S-T-E-R-E, but I don't think that means timber measure. I'm sort of, like I thought about the spoonster and now I'm sort of stuck on that in my mind as a possible or likely answer, but I'm not actually convinced that it is in fact either. That's all right. Let's carry on. Well, it probably is a likely enough thing that the word we are looking for ends in R, which would, let's just operate on the assumption that the next clue starts with, next entry starts with R. Sorry, one moment, I'm just making sure that my feed is working. There's no point making all this solving progress if it's not actually here. I hope it's working. I think we are. Just give me a sec. Is the sound on? So I think it is. Swell. Alright, back to the crossword. 3-letter word, left canine in place of research. And place of research is like a lab, I suppose, which could be given by L. Canine, I don't think that's... It doesn't really give AB. Canine is a common crossword abbreviation or crossword indicator for just C, I believe. Canine abbreviated to C in dentistry. Certainly positive it doesn't mean, can't be used for AB. Left canine in place of research. 3 letters. I mean, I do like... I mean, maybe No, the left part may well be part of the last part of the clue before. So maybe that actually, the one we're looking for actually ends in L. So we're looking for spoon something 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 L, and of course that gives us LAB, which is a canine and a lab, for the next clue. That's all fitting together. Sounds good. Which of course gives us a B for the start of this 10-letter clue. Biology perhaps, I'm thinking, so zoology perhaps, I'm already thinking biology. I suppose it's both types of science that deal with life, with attraction to men as well as women. Now, that made me think yesterday when I read it, bisexual, or it could just be bi, B-I. I mean, bisexual is only 8 letters, not 10 letters, but with attraction to men as well as women could well be B-I. So I'm just going to pencil in the I there. Scott not abstaining. We were looking at this yesterday as well. Abstaining is teetotaling or TT, so Scott not abstaining could well be SCO, so Scott without the TT. Bisco gets tipsy with niece. I don't think N's short for niece, is it? Because if N was short for niece, then I would have thought the last 5 letters could be the letters of gets with N for niece. It could be gets tipsy with, but I'm just not sure of. Not sure of the first 5 starting letters we have there, the Bisco part. First time chat, Fluff Sue, who says hello. Hello there. The chat doesn't stay popped up on my screen when I click into other windows, so I will come back and check on it every now and then. But hello, nice to meet you, and I've got a banana emoji. Well, that's nice. If you like crosswords, tell me about it. I like crosswords, which is why I am trying to solve this puzzle. This looks complicated. It is rather complicated. It is a D-grade crossword from the Magpie magazine. I put the link there to their website because if you do like... Oh, sorry, I spelled that wrong. If you do like crosswords, might be worthwhile subscribing. It's www.piemag.com. They put out an edition every month. I don't have a current subscription to it, but I did for a number of years. And every month they send out 5 crosswords and 1 numerical crossword, and they're all, I suppose, what we call advanced English style cryptics or British style cryptics. The only difference between somebody who is bad at crosswords and somebody who's good at crosswords is perseverance, really. Every single clue that you manage to solve, I think, as solvers we get better at them because, you see a gimmick once and it sticks in the back of your mind and you're better able to identify it in the future. The difficulty with this crossword though is that there really is so much cold solving that you need to do to just get the clues out and identify what the clues are before you can even start to solve them, that it's not quite as simple as just looking at a regular square grid. But it's a brilliant crossword for a lot of reasons. Let's return to this 10-letter clue here. Zoology, perhaps. So I'm looking for a 10-letter word, I think, which zoology perhaps is the definition. And that's what we call definition by example. So zoology is an example of this type of thing. It's got to be bioscience. Yeah, bioscience. Zoology is a type of bioscience, and it uses the entirety of this. I'll show you why. So I just had a nice little penny drop moment there. So, with attraction to men as well as women gives us, of course, BI for bi. I was right with the Scot not abstaining being Scot less the TT, but then it has gets tipsy with niece. So the letters of SCO with niece, NIECE, is enough to make, when put together with the O, bioscience. There we go, check that out. How good is that? It's amazing what I think talking aloud can help one solving. Just lost my screen there. It really is quite amazing how talking aloud can make all the difference. Have I? Just wondering if I just kicked a PowerPoint. Just wondering if I'm still working. I think I am. Still streaming? Sweet. Alright. Bioscience. You cut out, but you're back. Thank you. Alright, bioscience. That's a terrific little clue. How good is that? Wish there was a way I could sort of keep this dialogue box pinned so I could just always see my chat. Anyway, that's all right. Which of course means that because we're doing change, the next 6-letter entry starts with an E. And let's try and work out what that is. Bars to subdue, curious teen embracing American aristocracy. I mean, curious teen could be an anagram of the letters of teen, T-E-E-N. Oh, can I? I can keep Twitch open on my phone. I might try that. I'll see if I've got Twitch on my phone. I do. Here we go. Ooh. Chat. How do I get to my chat? Has to be a way to get to my chat, sure. If we go stream manager, here we go, chat. Here we go. I am chatting away. That makes it much easier. Thank you for that tip. Alright. So I like curious teen being an anagram for the letters T-E-E-N going around American. So that could be American, could be US, or it could be A-M, and tame, maybe? Bars to subdue. And tame may well be a word. No, this is an interesting one. In tame is going to be a Shakespearean word, which means that this is where we have one of our missing letters, bards, being an indicator to look for a letter which is a Shakespearean, sorry, a word which is a Shakespearean word instead of a normal English word in current use. And once again, the missing letter, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them now, is a D. That certainly can't be a coincidence. So that quite comfortably gives us the word in tame, being a Shakespearean word to meaning to do. I'm not sure which one of Shakespeare's plays that's from. Certainly hasn't written any in a while. Probably an old one. Aristocracy removing golf access. Well, now if I can see where that clue starts, that one's quite easy. Aristocracy, a 6-letter word for aristocracy, is gentry. If you remove the G, you end up with entry, and of course that is a type of access, which means that the next entry must start with the letter Y. And before November, Yankee 8 in 16th century. I mean, country. Before November, that could be a juxtapositional indicator. Fluff, who asks, are British crosswords different than American ones? Yes, they are. This is a crossword which is what we call an advanced cryptic crossword. It's in the cluing is in the British style, and it's a cryptic style crossword. But I don't think there's a strong tradition in American style crosswords for cryptic clues or cryptic style crosswords. The English style crossword, just so I can put it up here, the clues are really in two parts. You have a wordplay aspect of it and a definition aspect. And the definition is usually either at the start or the finish of the clue, but the idea is that every answer is clued in two different ways. One with a straight out definition, like what you would see in your typical American crosswords or a non-cryptic English crossword. And then the wordplay aspect is, I suppose, a instruction on another way to derive the answers. So a good example of that was the clue that we just solved. The definition is aristocracy. No, sorry, the definition is access. The wordplay is aristocracy, which is a word, or gentry, Gentry, removing golf. So we delete G from gentry and we get the word entry, which is another word for aristocracy. And the other thing which Fluffy says, I think a lot of American ones have wordplay indicators too. I have seen a few American cryptics. I've only seen a few. American crosswords, like the New York Times crossword, they do have. They are certainly very playful, and they do certainly have wordplay. But I don't think it's. Well, my understanding is it's not necessarily wordplay in the same sense as what one sees in English style cryptics. I think that the tradition of cryptic crossword cluing in English style cryptics is actually, well, it was quite old and it's actually quite strict in a lot of ways. But generally, every single clue in an English style cryptic crossword will have will be in that format of wordplay and definition. And the art of the English style cryptic is, I suppose, just how playful and creative a setter can get when they're making or writing those crosswords. Just going back here, we have here before November Yankee. Now, that's obviously all part of the wordplay for the next clue. Yankee is in the NATO alphabet and indicates a Y. November is also part of the NATO alphabet and indicates N. Before November could be an indication that we put Yankee before November. But I'm not quite sure how we get to because we do have the N there. I'm just going to indicate that Y-E-N, Y something N. I think that's probably what the answer is going to be. But I suspect this is going to have to be the entirety of that clue. Don't know what the answer is yet, but the reason that's going to be the entirety of the clue is because we have these. We know from the preamble of the crossword that these paragraph marks indicate unclued entries. And this must of course be the penultimate clue here then. So just because of the placement of that paragraph entry, we know that before November Yankee 8 in 16th century country must be an entire clue, and we know that golf club in return for Scott's tips must also be an entire clue. Just 1 second, I've just got a message, I'm just going to check that message. No, I've actually got a phone call now. Just give me a moment, I just need to step away from this. I will be back, I promise. If I can work out how to turn this off. How do I turn this off? There we go. There we go, alright. Pressing pause, I will be back. Actually, I'll leave that on. Actually, I think I can come back to that later. Alright. Back again, let's carry on. Golf club in return for Scott's tips. I mean, Scott's tips may well be G. Oh no, G for golf, club in return. This could be another one of those funny indicators. Scott can be an indication of Walter Scott. Tips is probably the definition, so Scott's tips is probably the definition. And I'm going to say golf, and then we're looking for golf gives G, then club in return. Looking for, the answer is plural, looking for a 4-letter word starting with S, which means club. And I'm not going to spend ages trying to work that out. I'm just going to go straight to my crossword dictionary and look at the word club. It'd be nice to make some quicker progress on this beautiful puzzle. Clot, clothes, cloudless cloud, cloven club. Don't have a 4-letter word to tell me this. Clubs in, no. Golf club could be wedge and iron. I wonder if it's an iron one. Norrie backwards, no. a wood. Where it's golf and wood backwards. Duke. What are some types of golf clubs? An iron, a wedge, putter, not a sporting type. And there's other types of clubs as well. But all types of clubs. Sets. Here we go. Includes an iron, a wood, a baffia, a blade, a cleek, a mashie, a spoon. A golf club. A golf club can be a spoon. I wonder if noops is... Yeah, Walter Scott. Where a noop is a tip. Noops. Interestingly as well, we have spoon backwards there, and we know spoon is some of the first 5 words here, so I expect this is another part of the puzzle where the one entry in this chain is going to loop back on another entry, and of course that gives us an N for the end of this entry and an S for the beginning of that entry. Before November, Yankee 8 in 16th century. Yankee 8 in 16th century. And could 8 mean something different in 8 in 16th century? I'm just not sure how that gives a single letter. 8 in 16th century country. I'm a bit perplexed by that. Before November, Yankee 8. And I mean, the only thing that could be missing there is date. D for date. That would give D. And why TN? That's not. It's not something. I don't. As far as I know, it's not something. Anyway, what we do have there though is most of chain 3. So, how about, maybe it's a good time to go back to I wouldn't mind working out what this is. Spoon something 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 L. It's a word for a shoveler. 9 letters. I'm going to use my crossword aid. Spoon bill. Yeah, to bilk. Yeah, to bilk. B-I-L-K, almost bilk is removing the K. So we've got a spoon bill with left after that, so that gives us quite neatly spoon bill, which I think is a type of bird, and it is, I suppose, a shoveler of some sort, in the sense of shovel stuff in. So what do we have? We've solved all of the clues in chain 3. We have, sorry, leaving only the 2 unclued entries that we haven't solved yet. Still haven't solved 2 clues in chain 2, but that shouldn't be holding us back. We are still missing solutions to the first 3 clues of chain 1. Now that's probably going to be useful to get because we do know where the first of chain 1 generally goes. So let's try and get into that. Motor about easily but not slow passages. Short rattling noise as if one's following fast. Not with slow passages. Not with slow. But we are still missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 missing Ds. Stop engine abruptly. And setting up could be ad lib. Well, so on the spot could be ad lib or now or here. There. Or the spot there. It. No. Stop engine abruptly in front of garage. When we think about this essay, I was thinking, well, I like the idea of the definition being setting up an engine abruptly without an E on the end. Gives you something ending in IN, and in front of garage gives you a G. So I do like the idea of a present tense verb which ends with that ing. I think I might have disappeared for a moment there again, but I think I'm back now, aren't I? Hope I'm back. Yep. Okay, I keep on kicking the PowerPoint. I really should be able to get make a bit of progress on these ones. I mean, I know for the number 6, we're looking for rooms in houses, so I think let's look at the crosswords dictionary for rooms and see what we can find that's 6 letters long that might fit in with the theme of the crossword so far. We have a study, we have a hall, we have a bedroom. So I've just got like a Cluedo sort of feel about it, I think. I did solve this puzzle 6 years ago, but my memory is that it might not be Cluedo. Cellar. A motor about, so cellar, C-E-L-L-A-R, that includes the letters of car and E-L-L must be included by easily but not with slow somehow. Oh no, easily but not with. With is W. With easily is well, I believe. So easily but not with is without the W is E-L-L. Yeah, I reckon that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I think that's a complete clue there, which means that this 11 letter one looks like it could in fact be a word meaning slow passages. Slow passages. Thinking there about music. 11 letters is certainly enough for an Italian style. What if it ends in O? Could setting up be originating for the next one? O-R-I-N. No, that's going to be 11 letters, so it won't be that. Slow passages though, I do like the idea of... No, but slow passages, it might be an Italian word ending in I, which means the next one could start with an I. Initiating? Could that be? Setting up on the spot. Could be in it. Stop engine abruptly. Not sure about that. Engine abrupt. And this is 5 letters long, and it's 10 letters, but I'm just not sure. But it could well be. Yeah, so slow passengers is Andantini or something? Andantini, that's 9 letters. And I don't think it's even a word. Andantino's a word. It's a movement in Andante time. Yeah. Oh no, we know it starts with R. I'm going to go try and find some of the sheet music. Because I reckon I've seen it. I know this word. Beethoven's sonatas, and I should be able to look at the tempo marks on the index page. It looks like most of them start off pretty quickly. Allegro, allegro vivace, allegro con brio, allegro molto e con brio, allegro molto e con brio, allegro presto, grave. That's sonata 8, pathetic. Allegro, allegro, andante, adagio sostenuto. That's the Moonlight Sonata, I think. Largo, something that starts with R. That's no help. But I'm wondering, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Bet you it's in there somewhere though. There'll be a movement which has a particular tempo mark in which helped me to get that. I just can't think about looking for it. If it's a plural, I think it's going to end in R. It's an I. Short rattling noise. Now that would 2, 3. I don't think that really helps me in a meaningful way. I'm going to put in the letter. So we have cellar to start off chain 1. E goes here. So at least we can get the first 2 letters of all the chains in. That might take a while to pop up on the screen, I think. Should be popping up. Not sure why it's not popping up. I've done it on the iPad. Why aren't you updating? There you go. CE from chain 1 find their way into the screen. It's because I have updated it. I have entered it just now. Let me just click out of this and see if it's just an issue with it not loading. It's like it's not for some reason. Just wondering if my internet's working. Should be. I hope it is. It is working. But for some reason, this isn't updating. Let me try and duplicate this. See what pops up there. Yeah, something if you like about it, says down the bottom. Oh, well, there we go. Thinking something. Alrighty, let's carry on, I suppose. I think I can probably zoom in here again. At least now I think we've got something works. Sorry about that diversion. I'm the only person watching at the moment anyway, so definitely talking to myself. Alright, so we have the CE from seller in there. Motor about easily but not with. Slow passages. I think it's a musical term, no doubt. Short rattling noise as if one's following fast. Well, as if one following fast probably gives us the eye on the end. The crossword dictionary again for musical terms. Rallentando. I think that is. Well, rallentandi is probably a slow passage, is it? Rallentando, plural rallentandi, becoming slower. I think that's probably it. Not something I would have been able to recall off the top of my head. So let's just work out how that's passed. So, slow passages is the definition. Short rattling, rattling noises, a row, R-A-L-E. Somebody has a rattling noise when they breathe. The short is, of course, indicating the deletion of the last letter of that. So we go R-A-L. As if one's following fast. Fast is lent, L-E-N-T, and as if. It is as if, clue, and. I suppose it. Oh, it does. The 11th definition of as if as a conjunction is and. Anyway, that's good. So, what we have there, that tends to confirm that the first letter of this clue is I, and it also confirms for us what the start and finish of what the entire clue is. So, setting up on the spot. So, initiating, initialising, we're looking for that sort of thing. Stop engine abruptly in front of garage. So, initiating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Initialising, it's too long. Setting up, incorporating, too long again. All the words mean set up or found. set up. It's got initiating. I've got that. Introducing, it's too long. Incriminating. Well, that's an interesting sense of setting up. To incriminate. I wonder if it could be inculpating. Incul. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, that's 11 letters, not 10 letters. So, next question then is, well, can we make, if the definition is setting up, can we make the answer meet the wordplay of this? We have the front of a garage from I, we have on the spot, stop, engine abruptly, in front of garage. This is the sort of thing that's going to do my head in, it really is. Because it's unlikely to be a word which is so obscure that I shouldn't know it. It should be as simple as me just getting it straight away. I should be able to get it straight away. Ensnaring? No. Implementing, that's too long. I'll come back to that, I'm sure. Once again, interesting here, we have seller, the last 5 letters of seller, reverse the first 5 letters of Ralantandy, which suggests to me... Hey Ed.
Hey James, how you going?
Yeah, good. Hey Ed.
You on Twitch?
Yeah, solving a crossword. I've spent 3 hours and I've got that in, but I've solved most of the clues. Good. No one's actually watching because...
Eddie did last night.
Yeah, he contributed.
So did I.
Yeah, you contributed too. Yeah. Elle solved one of the clues.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brainiac.
Definitely a brainiac. Oh, did you hear Banjo's having all his teeth taken out?
Yeah, I heard.
All of them out.
Yep.
How's he gonna eat?
We're going to need a spoon for him. Ralantandy. So, what that means in my mind is that we know that the E from seller is here, which means that it goes off somewhere and then comes back, which means that the N must be, whichever way the N is the opposite of the direction that the L is, if that makes sense. So if I can try and demonstrate that here, we have, for example, L could go here, or the L could go up here. Let's just try and plan this one. C-E-L-L-A-R. We have seller going this way, and then the chain is allowed to come back on itself. So Ralantandy could come back along here and go here. In fact, I think that's probably quite likely. And there's something neat about that because it fills up those cells. I can't pencil it in yet because I don't know if I'm in a position to exclude the alternate option, which is to have the L going up this way, and of course then fourth letter, the second L can go here, or it can go here. It can go here, it really could go in any different direction. So I don't think I'm really in a position to progress that. Unfortunately. I wonder if I'm in a position to do anything with bedroom and moon gods, because we have that same thing going on there. Or hall and lovebird. Let's have a look at chain 3, the bedroom one. Where are we? Once again, I wonder if this is properly updating, because there we go. There's a bit of lag, I'm sorry. So, the bedroom, we can have, well, D can go in 3 different directions, can't it? And so D goes here, R needs to go there, O can't go there, because it's blocked. M, it can't be right, because it needs to finish in a cell that has an open door. It could finish there, but it needs to go back on itself. So we need to finish in a cell where, I think that's unlikely, because we want it to come back for the moo part at least. So let's try it up here. I like that. That could work. It neatly takes care of that aspect. Well, it's not for certain, because I mean, we could have a bedroom. No, I can't go there. I mean, it could go here and maybe it doesn't double back on itself, but I think it probably does double back on itself. Same with that. And theoretically, D could also go here with R, O, M, but I think that probably gets a little bit too cluttered for the other ones. We're going to take a punt, and we're going to leave it in red, but I reckon bedroom could snake around that way, where I've got it in red there. Which means moon gods, M comes back on itself, M-O-O, and we come around here, moon, G-O-N-G-O-D-S, which neatly puts us in an acceptable starting cell for the next entry, which is spoonbill, which of course has to go here. And remember, we were talking about how we think spoonbill might come back with noops. If spoonbill comes back with noops, that would mean it's coming back here. So we want spoonbill goes out here, and if noops comes back, then the final entry also has to follow that P. So I think we can deduce what this second letter of this unclude entry has to be, I think. I think we can deduce that as has to be SP. Just going to pencil that in. I could be completely wrong about that initial assumption I'm making about bedroom, but I don't think I am, because we can get a few entries here and they just seem to fit, so it's helpful, it's good. I don't think I can go beyond the P of spoonbill at this stage though, because I mean the O can go here and it can go all sorts of places, but the O can also go here. And then we have the N. Actually, it's not a bad place for it there, because if Noops is coming back, B-I-L-L. I mean, it could be something, I guess, B-I-L-L-L. Check this out. I think this is right. Spoonbill. I can fix this up with, I can make this work with chain 1 as well. So chain 1 was seller. We have C-E-L-L-A-R, and we know that the next one, which is Rallen Tandy, comes back. So I'm talking about that before. R-A-L-L-E-N. I'm not sure where the T after that necessarily goes, but we can get part of that in. But just coming back to what we have here with spoonbill, we have S-P-O-O-N-B-I-L-L. And then we know that the next one is lab. L-A-B, we have that, the L and the A from seller, but if we go a different direction, that comes back on itself. So we get lab, and then the next one was, what are we in, chain 3? Bioscience, and yet again, that works out nicely, because we have B going to the I from Bill. We don't know where the rest of bioscience goes, but I think that is rather promising so far, and I like what we have there so much that I am going to mark this in blue, because if I'm wrong about it, we can always revisit some of our starting assumptions, but there's something about that pathway that just seems to fit in with so much of what we have so far. We've got two different chains fitting in with each other, and we have, of course that's significant. Two different chains fitting in with each other, and we have different entries from the same chain fitting in with each other if it follows that general path. So I'm going to make those things permanent. I am going to, I think we got up to BI, so I'll just circle that I there. With the Rallen Tandy we got up to here, so I'll circle that. So I wonder where we go to from here so far. I can try and fit bioscience in, but I think when we're looking at, we've got the BI for bioscience, when we're looking at where that could potentially go, it's there's so many different permutations that I'm just not prepared to. I don't think it's a feasible use of my time just yet, trying to fit the rest of that entry in. And just like we were able to sort of clarify the likely position, like the direction of Seller and Rallantandi, by focusing on how it interacted, how chain 1 interacted with chain 3. I think if we maybe turn to another chain, we might be able to try and work out how some of them work together. So Rallantandi, we have the N here, and we need to try and fit in more. T-A-N-D-I, and I needs to end in a cell which is one with an open door, because it's the final letter of Rallantandi, but the first letter of the next clue, Rallantandi. So we've got R-A-L-L-E-N, the T can go here, it can go here, and it can go there, which simply does not help narrow it down, but let's try some different options. I mean, none of them are particularly restrictive. If we put the T here, the A can go here or here, the N might end up going up this way. I'm just not confident of this at all. I don't think, looking at the information we have there so far, we can work out what comes next. I mean, it would be good if we had this next clue, the answer to the entry after Rallantandi, because if that goes back on itself in a way, or is in any way really, it would help us, certainly help us. Just wondering what the other thematic entries. Right, no, this is interesting. 2 chains share one key thematic entry, which is also include. Just looking at the second last part of the thing, I haven't noticed this before. So that must be. So we've got in chain 3 we have that 9-letter one, but we also have that in chain 1, also a 9-letter thing. But we know both end in N, but there we've got that one ending in, starting in D. If it is in fact the same entry, if this is the same entry as what we see in chain 1, so 2 clues share one key thematic entry, which is also include. So it's the same entry. The last and first letters of this entry are the last 2 letters of a word that can suffix the final entries of each chain to create thematic words. Maybe I can't have. I don't think that's wrong. Special was sickly, sailed, moved over Main. But the last and first letters of this entry, if it's N... Oh no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong one there. It's ND. Oh no, ND can be the last and first letters. So let's say that's D, which means that this is D before November. Yankee date. Before November Yankee. Is it YND and date 8 is missing a D there? YND. YND is a Spencerian word for ind, which is a poetic form of India. That is sort of thing I said I might do, I think, if they're really struggling to make the chain. Alright, well, I mean, that's the answer. Y and D. You learn something every day. I have no idea. Well, that's another one down. So what's that from? Chain 3. We have the missing D in front of 8. That gives us date. That means we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got 5 of the 6 missing D so far. And we know that chain 3 and chain 1 share this extra thematic word, which starts with D. So we know that chain 1 and chain 3 are going to intersect at some stage. Indeed, it seems like they have already intersected. I wonder if the thematic word is a 9-letter word for a room that starts with D, because I mean the other thematic words were certainly rooms, weren't they? Let's have a look at that. Room. 9 letters. Dormitory? No. Mezzanine? Something ND. Goes on the end of the other thematic words. Thematic entry. Those ones relate to their own chain. A little bit puzzled still, I've got to say. Well, I'm meant to be puzzled, it's a puzzle. Alright, so the E of follows Tamashir, E of Amir, looking at chain 0 now, that can go anywhere in any of 3 different directions. Let's just see if we can try and rule some of these out. If M goes here, E, M, I, R, no, I think that's an acceptable place for it to go. If E, M, I, R, either of those are acceptable places for the M to go. E, M, I, R, E, M, I, R, I, R. So we really haven't got anything there, but helps us. What chain 2? We start with Hall. We need to then get Lovebird in. This is interesting. Have a look at this. I can see the letters of Drongo here, because we know it goes Hall, Lovebird, Drongo. D, R, must be go this way, D-R-O-N-G. Which means that this B is probably the bird part of the one before it, the Lovebird. So, put that in. Now the working backwards, E-V-O-L for love, that can't come from this very confined path. But it can come from here. So E, V, O, L, no. V, O, no. That has to be V. This has to be O. And L is one of this or this. That L is also the last digit of Hall. So Hall either goes up here, or alternatively, goes there. I don't think we can work out which way it goes yet, but I do think we have enough to say we deduced where Lovebird goes. We have deduced where Drongo goes. In fact, we had already put that in the grid. which is very, very clever. I mean, part of the thing that I think is so clever about this puzzle is, even though it is such a obscure entry, or grid to be entering digits into, it sort of in some ways solves itself. So when we get into it, it's not quite as difficult as it seems. So we already have a Drongo comes up and around here, and it ends here. But we know that the next one we have is something that starts with O. And we know that this is the unclued one, so I'm going to get rid of oxide there for a minute. I think the clue is this here. Urban beast, attention seeker collects wife. Well, if the O's there, then that O can only go in this direction to the R, so that must be an R. Urban beast, attention seeker, collects wife. I mean, what would a urban beast, attention seeker with a wife in it? What? And indeed, the R can only go in. The next letter can only be a D or an O after, if we assume that the next one is R. O-R-D, O-R-O, O-R-O-O-M, no, O-R-D. I'm going to look up 5-letter words starting O-R-D.
Is anyone actually watching?
Probably not, no. Shall I check? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning in other parts of the world when people are up. 5-letter words starting O-R-D.
Order?
I think it's the only one. But can that mean urban beast? Attention seeker collects one. O-R-D-E. No. Oribi. O-R. The O-R can go here. O-R-B. O-R-I-B-I. I suspect that is. Wife is rib. Oribi is a type of antelope. Wife is, rib is slang for wife, and oi, attention seeker, is oi. That gives us a ribby. So we were right about where that clue started and finished. It's always nice to be vindicated, I suppose. That gives us this start and finish of this final clue as well from, just bearing in mind that we're still missing a D, or what I suspect is a D, a missing D from one of the clues. But I can fit a ribby into this. O-R-I-B-I. We know that I has to go there because it cannot go back on itself. That also gives us starting letter of the next clue, but apparently enough, it also gives us a third letter of this, because if we follow this I around,
You know, Ed's doing his peers thing tomorrow.
can only go this way. Oh, is it? Do you reckon it's going to pass?
Yeah.
How many hours has he got up?
Well, he has to have 120, so obviously 100.
Oh, does he actually know?
Yeah.
How many are you on? So we have I something A. We know it's going to be 7 letters and we know it's going to end in S. Consisting of Eureka nuts for starters. Eureka nuts for starters. Silvery fish. Silvery fish consisting of Eureka nuts for starters. I'm not sure where the eye comes from in that. Rabbit. I'm going to start looking at fish. Looking for a fish. I mean, there's id, or id, or odd. I think that's a IDEs. I think it is. That could be. Could give us the eye for the start of this clue. But that might suggest that the definition is in fact silvery. Fish. So let's start with 6-letter words for fish. So I was working on a supposition before that it was pluralised. Fish, crustaceans and shellfish include. Can't see one starting with I. That's 6 letters long. There's certainly the id or the id. So I wonder if rabbit is actually the answer. So we have a silvery fish. It's one of them more likely to be. Is it a silvery fish? Closely related to the chub, which is a river fish of the carp family. Little freshwater fish. Don't know what colour it is, but I could work there. Silvery fish consisting of Eureka nuts. For starters. Rabbit. And maybe I'm wrong about this whole sailed ailed thing. But here's the thing, if it does go up in this direction, then we do have, if it goes up I something A and then continues for another 4 letters, 1, 2, 3, it can only go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That doesn't get us to an S. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That does. Isn't Idangsa a type of fish? Idangus? I mean, gas is rabbit. And to gas could be to rabbit. I something ANGAS. Fungus. Nangas. That's the silvery fish. That's our silvery fish that we're dealing with. So I know what it is. So the gas is to rabbit. Silvery fish is a definition consisting of is short for in. Eureka nuts for starters is AN. Gas is rabbit. I should have got that. Not like I said, I'm not good with my fish, but at least, I mean, that's a clue that we were able to solve from using a bit of feedback from the grid, which is cool. It's really cool, actually. And the other thing I really like about that is we have completed this little top northeastern corner. Finding gas and everything's sort of in together still. So after an angers we have sailed, and we know that A has to go here. Only spot for the L can goes there. So we don't have a spot for the D yet, but what we do know is that so this is a convergence of chain 0 and chain 2. Elle, can you, I think numbers on the phone, can you answer that?
Yeah.
So we know from that convergence we have an M coming off it and we have a D coming off it. Which might help us clarify. So M for Amir and D for Saad, which might help us clarify what's going on here. So we now have two different options for the three spaces that come off the E. Just wondering, nice if we could solve this clue from chain 2, which is 7 letters starting with D. Half on top of plate for a person of questionable character. Well, I like half to be what, demi or something? Or demi. I wonder if this person of questionable character is a demi something. Sure it is, but just looking at the grid, I can see how that could result in the demi coming back and meeting up with part of Amir, which would see demi-rep is a word, but we could see some entanglement of chains 0 and 2 if we did it that way. So I wonder if demi-rep fits. So demi means half, on is RE, top of plate is P. I suspect if I look up the word demi-rep, that is going to be a person of questionable character, or a person, especially a woman of dubious reputation. I reckon you could go through the Chambers Dictionary, which of course, you know, charts not just current language usage, but modern, but historical language usage as well. And I think if you charted it through, one would end up with, well, statistically, I think you'd have more majority of terms for women than you would for men in it, which might just reflect how we've traditionally used language. Okay, I am going to write the complete lists here, and where I have letters in, so the complete answers from the chains, where I have letters in red, that's because I have not yet entered them into the grid, so that might be a way for us to try and keep track of where we're up to, because we have done a pretty good job solving most of this puzzle so far. So we have chain 0. So chain 0, what do we have from that? Study, Yang, Gamut, Tumshi and Mir. Refill. Is that Latiner? I think, something, ING. Gin, Nep, and 5 little words starting with P is the final one, include word. Then we have, let me move chain, 3. But don't. Move chain 3 this way. chain 1 up here. And we can see all of those things easily on the table. Okay, what do we got for chain 3? Bedroom, Moon God, Spoon-Built Lab, Bioscience, Pentame, or Hintami as it's pronounced in Japanese, if it ever was. Entry, Yind, which is that word that everybody knows, which means India. Got that 9-letter common word, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Got noops, and we have that, SP something something something. For chain 1, we have Rallen Tandy, we have I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 something G, I think initiating but can't be sure. Gunk, Kidnap, Pyramid. Once again that shared word. Nutshell man, old, dull, and 4-letter word starting with L. Just wait for that to catch up. Could well be lion. Don't know if it is.
Probably not.
I think we went past Drongo, didn't we? So I'm just going to get rid of that little circle I had over the O in Drongo. So, Rallen Tandy, Bioscience, start of Amir, penultimate letter of Sailed. Where do we go from here? Well, I can put the if I put this one no, it doesn't help me. Just try and look for other sort of things that some of those words could, some of the letters we already have in there, how they could represent other things. I mean, we have, for example, noops here, N-O-O-P-S. I mean, that's part of our rationale for putting it in that way. So I suppose, theoretically, we can mark that as completed. Noops. And SP. Wait a second. Aha. We know that these asterisks have to be, must be, the end point of each of the chains, and there are only 3 asterisks. We know that chain 3 ends in is only 5 letters long. If I'm right about this being noops and SP for the final letter of chain 3 coming from, so noops here and final letter of chain 3 going SP, it can only finish here, which means that it has to be the last letter of the thematic word at the end of chain 3 must be E. Must be. And it could be. But it has to be here, here, here. It has to follow this direct path like that. What is it? They're coming up in the green. So I like that. I like where we're up to with that. That seems promising. We still haven't got, I should just for completeness put the HLL on the lovebird. There, it's not loverbird, it's lovebird. Not sure why I spelled that wrong. Alright. I think the trick to the next step is really going to be trying to work out how we get Amir and Timmy rep in, but funnily enough, Amir and is a word that is in fact contained within Timmy rep. So I suspect we're going to go to one of these cells, and then what we will be required to do is loop back onto ourselves. So what about if I somehow done something silly or somehow managed to just going to click out of this for a moment and enter back into it because I'm not sure that's displaying correctly. There we go, that's better. So I mean, D could go here, it could go here, it could go there. If it goes here, then we end up back around here or here. Demi, D-E-M-R-E-P. Here, and then E-M. D-E-M-I-R, sorry, D-E-M-I-R-E-P? No, that doesn't work. Let's try some different options. So D goes here. Assume it comes back on itself. Well, it has to. D-E-M-I-R-E-P. The next one has to be penguins, but that can't get to there. I suppose it could go. Could finish up here, maybe. And then we've got penguins, which can go up and down. And then we'd have a mare that would go refill. I suppose it fits, right? But let's just imagine we, instead of say the D goes here or here, and in fact it goes back around here. D-E-M-I-R-E. Yep.
Can you please come and help me get our son?
Yep, just give me a second. Right, I'm stepping away for a moment.
Okay, are his legs picking you up?
In fact, I think that is probably a good time to end part 2 of this stream. I will stop streaming now.